All right, meanwhile, from a deadline for the FBI and Justice Department to turn over documents related to the Trump dossier to problems with the Hillary Clinton investigation, there's a lot going on involving the politicalization of supposedly neutral agencies of justice. For the very latest on this, here's Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz from Florida. He is a member of the Judiciary Committee. Congressman, today was the deadline for the FBI and Justice to turn over documents that were related to the Trump dossier to try to find out what was going on, whether the Justice Department itself was peddling the Trump dossier, which was created by a democratically operated institution. What have you found out? Did they miss the deadline? Did they meet it, or what?
Well, there are things that we know and things that we don't know still today. We do know that the Democratic Party gave money to the Fusion GPS company that they then gave to Russians to go and tell lies about the President of the United States. What we don't know is whether or not the FBI also reimbursed the authors of that dossier for their work. And we also don't know whether or not the dossier was then dressed up as an intelligence document and used as a basis to go and spy on Americans. Today was the deadline to turn over records and also make witnesses available for review from the Congress. And I don't know as of this exact moment whether or not documents have been produced yet, but we should be knowing in the coming hours.
And quickly, if you don't get what you're looking for, what happens then?
Well, people at the highest levels of the Department of Justice and FBI could be held in contempt of Congress, could literally be held in contempt, which means that they don't go anywhere. That's not a state of being. That's a state of incarceration at some point. And that would happen if there's a continued desire to resist federal subpoena power.
Okay, well, you mentioned Fusion GPS. They're the folks behind the Trump dossier. The founders of Fusion had an op-ed in today's New York Times. It's called The Republicans' Fake Inquiry. And Glenn Simpson and his partner, who founded the organization, claim that they want to make a clear they want to clear the air of all of this. They want to make everything public that they said behind closed doors to Senator Grassley's committee on the Senate side of the aisle. So what do you say to that? Any truth to that whatsoever?
Well, I think it would be great if we had public testimony from these individuals. I've been calling for it for a while. I don't think that we really advance the cause of justice by having closed-door meetings. We should have sunshine as the ultimate transparency. But as to the claims that they are making, it is ridiculous. They were employing one of the spouses of a senior Justice Department official with their company, and then they were off. Sure.
Glenn Simpson says in this article that, in fact, they never had they were not in touch with the FBI, and he implied they were not in touch with the Justice Department, when, in fact, Bruce Orr, who you mentioned, who was the #3 man at Justice Department, his wife was actually working for Fusion GPS, so it's unlikely that they didn't have some contact with the Justice Department. But more than that, Senator Grassley said the following about whether or not this man, Glenn Simpson, is sincere about wanting to clear the air. He said Mr. Simpson and his attorney demanded during the interview that the transcript be kept confidential. Mr. Simpson has refused to answer dozens of questions voluntarily and has failed to provide the committee with documents and responses to follow-up questions after the interview. So from Senator Grassley, who's a very sober guy, he's not a bomb thrower, he says, look, this is complete nonsense that these guys want to clear the air. They were the ones who demanded that the interview be closed.
Well, they can say whatever they want to whomever they want at whatever time they want. They've chosen to engage in the forum that in the Senate that is in the confidential setting, and I think that we all ought to know the answers to these questions. But it's one thing to demand answers from foreign nationals and people who own companies that do opposition research. It's quite another to demand them from your own FBI and your own Attorney General. At any point in time, our own government could tell us whether or not they were colluding with a political party to disrupt the presidency of Donald Trump. The fact that they haven't done that, that's what troubles me.
That's troublesome indeed. Congressman Gaetz, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it.